Welcome to Rahab Sisters. We are back.
We are.
It's nice to see you.
It's good to see you all.
We've kind of actually missed each other, not being on the show for a while.
Weekly visits.
Yeah.
And studying God's Word is really what I've missed more so than my sister. But
I don't know if I like that statement, although I mean I can understand.
You know?
It's still kind of an ouch.
I mean, I'm in love with him more than I am you.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I can tell you this morning when I was doing the preparations for this, there was this sense of joy. Like, I'm studying again.
We're ready.
Well, just studying again.
Right. That's what I'm saying, is being in His Word. And it's more so than just on Sunday mornings and our mom's group. Like, the Rahab Sister is really a different dive into seeking God.
Yeah.
You know, because not only are we here helping our viewers, but more so it helps us. I think God speaks to us through these. So I'm excited to see.
For me today, when I was looking at what we're gonna talk about today, the whole concept of when we're reading the Bible, we just have a tendency to just kind of read through, and things don't necessarily hit us the way that He maybe intended them to hit us.
Right.
Because we don't think deeper into it. We don't study to show ourselves approved.
Right. We're just surface reading.
It's that whole concept of, oh, well, I have to read the Bible.
Oh.
That's what a good Christian does, is read the Bible. Or even just, okay, let me do my quiet time. And we just read. We don't study.
Right.
So today when I was preparing and I was studying again, it was exciting to me.
Well, good.
Yeah, so we're going to really probably only look at one, maybe two verses today. We're kind of switching our focus or our setup, our layout, in that this is going to be more of a teaching and not topical.
Right.
Because we've got some other things planned, but we'll update you on those later. So we're going to go to Colossians 3. And we're in verse 1. We're going to start at the beginning of Colossians 3, which, by the way, is an incredible chapter. There's tons of stuff in it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Which Bible did you bring today?
My ESV.
Okay, I'm going to let you go ahead and read that then.
Okay, just the first.
Just the first one.
All right, here we go. It says, "If then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God."
Okay. There's some interesting statements there. The "if then" is a big deal to me. And if you're looking at a different version, like the NIV or the New Living, they say something different, which I don't think is as powerful. Okay, so the NIV says "since then," and the NLT also says "since you." So when you're thinking about that, the NIV and the NLT imply that it has already occurred.
Right.
Since. Whereas the ESV, the HCSB says "so if." The King James says "if ye." And the New American Standard says "therefore if." So these other ones say "if."
Right.
Which implies maybe not.
I got it.
Right? Okay. So I looked up the word "if" in Greek, because it's New Testament, so it's Greek. And it's the word "I." It's spelled "ei," if we spelled in English, which we don't in Greek, obviously, but it's spelled "ei" as far as the English spelling of it. But the pronunciation is just "I." Like the letter "I." And it means if or whether, you know.
Right.
That's not the big deal, but the explanation of the word was pretty interesting. It's a primary particle of conditionality, which means that there's a condition, right? If. That it's conditionally based. If this is true about you, then this.
Right.
Right? So the beginning of this verse begs us to consider, are we? Are we raised with Christ. Are we not?
Well, I'm just saying the condition is if you are.
If you are,
Then we would seek things from above.
Right.
I got it. It's all clicking.
But if you're
not, then you don't desire the things above.
Yeah, well, and it won't do you any good to seek them because you haven't been raised.
Right.
Okay.
I got it.
All right, cool. Because then I look at the word raised, which is in the ESV, but, you know, as I've explained before, when we look at Strong's, we have to look at the King James Version. The King James Version of that verse says, "If ye then be risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God." So it says, "If ye then be risen with Christ." So the word is risen. The actual word is risen.
Okay.
Okay, out of the King James anyway. So the Greek word is sunegiro.
Sunegiro?
Yeah. And it means to rouse from death. So if you've been roused from death, when you rouse somebody, you wake them up.
Right, that's right.
So you've been roused from death, if you have been roused from death.
And which...
If you're a Christian,
There's a light bulb that just went off. It's implying that before we were not saved, we were dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if we know Christ and He has
roused
us to life, then we shall be seeking these things above. Ah.
Pretty neat, right?
That is very neat.
It also means in company with, which is interesting, because if then you're in company with Christ. When you're in company with someone, you're hanging out with them, right?
Right. You do the things they do. You like to do the things that they do.
You have things in common.
Right.
You're in company with Christ. If then.
Right.
Right? And so, again, it begs us to consider, if then, have I been raised? Have I been roused from the dead? Am I in company with Christ? It also means to revivify spiritually in resemblance to. Okay? So,
this is all raised. This is all raised.
Well, risen, raised.
Raised.
Yeah. So, I looked up revivify because it's kind of a cool word, actually. And it means to give new life to.
I was thinking like revive, to...
That's exactly right. To revive. To
revivify. I don't even think that's a
cool
word. Yeah. It's cool to say.
Yeah, that's why I looked at it. I thought it was pretty neat. But so it means to give new life to. That's Merriam-Webster. Because, I love Merriam-Webster.
I know you do.
But it says to revivify spiritually in resemblance to. So if we change revivify to the definition, then it would state to give new spiritual life in resemblance to Christ.
Oh, wow. Then...
In resemblance to, that's the part that really grabbed you. That means we're supposed to look like.
Act like.
Resemble. Right? And if then you resemble Christ. If then you've been given new life spiritually in resemblance to Christ.
Powerful, because you think before you were saved, I'm thinking my own personal, you didn't seek Him. And
or things above.
Or things that He would want you to do. You were totally in company with evil.
Yeah, that's great. What a good statement. You were in company with evil. Yeah.
You do the things they do. You seek the things that they do. Whereas when you are in company with Christ, if you are saved, you do strive hard to resemble Him, to seek Him, to be better, not to go back down that dark tunnel. You want to keep going towards the light.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Cool, right? Well, and so now if we can say, if then you've been risen, if we can say yes to that, which as Christians we would say yes to that. Right?
We are.
Then we move on to the next part of that verse. So if you have been risen with Christ, okay, you need to make sure that you have been. Because if you haven't been, then the rest makes no difference.
And you can't even pretend to do that if you are not.
Well, you can pretend for a short period of time, but then you're going to give up.
Right.
Right.
You'll fail.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So once you've decided, you've evaluated your faith walk, your situation, and you can say, yes, I have been risen with Christ. Yes, I have been roused from death. I am in company with him, and I'm resembling him. Then we would move on to the next part of that verse, which says to seek those things which are above, where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God. So I looked up the word seek because, I don't know, sometimes I think people look at the word seek and they just kind of assume things are going to come into view, and you know what I mean?
They're just going to pop up.
Right. And the word is zeteo.
Zeteo.
Or zeteo, something to that effect. And it means to seek, no big deal, right? But to worship God is what else it means.
I just got the God mom speaking. Because to worship him, if you're truly worshiping God, you're gonna see him, right? You won't have you. That's your way of seeking. You're closer with him when you worship him. He reveals things to you.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And the other cool thing about it is, if then you have been roused from death, if you have been given the ability to be in company with Christ and revivified spiritually in resemblance to him, don't you want to worship God?
Of course.
Don't you? You want to be like,
daily.
Awesome.
Right.
Right? So there's just so much in just that one little verse. So much. Just worship God. Worship the things that are above. It's not some, arbitrary statement. Seek him. Worship him. What were you going to say?
Did you read verse 2?
Yeah, but we're not going to go there yet.
Okay. I didn't know if that's where you were getting seek from.
Nope. Seek the things that are above.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of wondered things that are above. Like sun, moon, stars, angels, clouds, what are we talking
birds.
About? Birds. Right. Airplanes. But it's defined as a group of words, and it's on-o. So those things which are above is on-o, and it means upward or on the top. So you're to seek those things that are upward, those things that are on the top. And when I think of on the top, I think the best.
Right. Top of.
Seek the best things. Seek the highest things.
Right. Not just our level here.
Right. And really, in saying that to you, seek the highest thing, I had to ask myself, and this is a conversation going on in my head as I'm talking. I'm a little odd. What's the highest thing? God.
God, right.
Seek
him. Worship him.
Thing. Worship the highest thing, where Christ is seated at his hand.
Don't be distracted by this.
Right.
Our human view.
If you've been raised with Christ and he's seated with God, then you are also seated there. And we'll find another verse says that too in the Bible, but we're there too. We just lose sight of...
Because we don't stay
right
looking to the highest. We stay drowned by the
world.
The world, right. Beautiful.
It's pretty neat.
It is really neat. Just those couple words, the meaning of them totally explodes that verse and gives it a new meaning. Right. Oh yeah, it's very familiar.
Right. How many times have you read that verse and it's just kind of blown by you? No big deal.
Because you think, if then you have been raised, sure, yeah, we have. Seek the things from above. Yeah, I guess we kind of do that. But do we really? Do we daily look up for the highest?
Right.
You know? When the storms roll in, do we keep our eyes on Him? We should.
Absolutely.
Because He's the only one who's going to pull us through it, not anything on this earth.
Well, and He's the only thing that will rouse us from the dead.
Right.
So.
And this earth beckons us to death. I mean, it screams death.
Yeah.
Everything that we're being pulled in different directions is trying to take our life, you know?
Absolutely. Well, and I heard someone talk yesterday about this earth, this world is rotting, and as Christians, we are the salt to preserve the earth, to make it stay alive as long as possible.
Spiritually.
Sure.
Right, because
it's ultimately it's going to rot, because that's just the destination. It's all going to burn, but it's our job to preserve it as long as possible.
Right.
To make it as pure and as not putrescent as possible. And that the only way we can do that is by living lives that seek Him.
We can do that.
I hope so. Well, guys, we only studied one verse, but I think that that's kind of what you need to do in just really diving into the Scriptures.
Because we could talk more about this verse. We could go back and read it again and catch something else.
Oh, yeah.
So, even if we just, studied one verse a day, what it could do for our lives, to take it apart as you do in the Merriam-Webster and translate it, how that would, speak to us daily. Because even revivify us, awaken us.
That's right. To make us resemble Him, and that's our goal, and we hope that's your goal, and go out there this week and resemble Him. Shine your light to this world. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Okay.